Welcome to the 2020 NFL season. Today I will be going over each NFL team and what I think about each franchise and where they're going to go from here. The Buffalo Bills. The biggest question mark for them is their entire offense. The team's defense should be absolutely stout this year. It is returning basically everybody from last year, so it should be perfectly fine. The problem is their offense. An inability to move the ball in the postseason game they had against the Texans is the entire reason why they lost the game. They do have a up-and-coming quarterback in Josh Allen. The question is, can he throw the ball? We know he can run it, but he's not very accurate all of the time. Stephon Diggs was a big addition this year, so he should be able to help. But will the team be able to actually move the ball? That is that is the question. The Miami Dolphins could actually be good this season? Where did that come from? The team's defense isn't great. They will consistently get torched in the secondary, especially because of the loss of Micah Fitzpatrick last year. However, the team's offense should be very good. Possibly. You never quite know what you're going to get with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Some games he's amazing, some games he's, well, not. But they should be able to compete in a relatively weak division this year. The New York Jets. The biggest question mark for them is their quarterback, Sam Darnold. Which version of him are we going to see this year? The version who flashes brilliance against teams like the Detroit Lions, or are we going to see the one that just throws interceptions for no reason? The team's defense, while not perfect, should be able to hold up enough, and hopefully Le'Veon Bell can finally do something. But behind that terrible offensive line, I wouldn't hold my breath. The New England Patriots, a team that has just completely run away with the NFL for forever. Their reign of terror in the NFL might be over. Or it might be beginning again. It might be the quickest rebuild of all time. We don't know. The quarterback situation for New England is probably the biggest question mark. After Tom Brady leaving this season, they signed Cam Newton. He doesn't fit their offense at all. What are they doing? Anyway, he should be interesting. I don't know if that means he'll be good. I don't know if that means he'll be bad. However, I do know that it will be a very interesting experiment. I personally believe in Jarrett Stidham as the replacement for Tom Brady, especially since he's very similar to him. However, the Patriots have always been able to fit whatever people they have, so maybe Cam Newton will end up being popular there. If he can succeed, they don't have a lot of weapons around him, but the defense should still be okay. They do have a lot of COVID dropouts, so I would keep an eye out on them. New England is one of those teams this season where I think the ceiling could be winning the division and possibly going into the playoffs, a deep playoff run, but the floor could be much worse. It's kind of an all or nothing season for them. The Cincinnati Bengals this season should be better, hopefully, than they were last season. Second year under Zach Taylor, so maybe he'll, maybe do something this season. Their defense should still be utter garbage. AJ Green might still be gone this season because the man is made of glass. Tyler Boyd, their other wide receiver, is very stout and will probably end up being the number one, especially if AJ Green can't stay on the field. The biggest problem in Cincinnati this season is going to be the reliance on a rookie quarterback that nobody's ever actually seen play before in the NFL. I wonder how that worked out the last time. Oh right, they're screwed. Cleveland Browns, the NFL's avocado toast. Constantly horrible and no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Except they should be able to, since they have all of the talent in the world now. When did that happen? I don't know, but they still can't win. Baker Mayfield decided to spend more time doing ad shoots and actually, learning how to play the position of quarterback. And as a result, the team massively underperformed. The likes of Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, OBJ, and Jarvis Landry, you'd think the team would be able to do something. You'd be wrong. Hopefully this season they can finally shed their mantra of being the worst team in the NFL and actually do something. The Baltimore Ravens, a team that won basically every game last season, decided to fold and just stop playing in the playoffs. Again, this team could not win in the playoffs to save their life, especially with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. The question this season, can they get better than being the champions of the regular season? The Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that had a very disappointing start of the season and had a very strong finish despite not having an offense at all. This year, their defense should be just as good as ever. Maybe their offense will be able to move better this year. Who's the quarterback again? Big Ben, the quarterback who's been washed up and hasn't done anything for the last 7 years and who constantly gets hurt. You think he's going to lead your team? God, they need a new quarterback. The Indianapolis Colts, a team who just a few years ago was almost in a Super Bowl run thanks to Andrew Luck, and now don't even have a real quarterback. I say this because Phillip Rivers is super old. The fact that their entire offense this season is led by a pickmaster, that's probably not a good decision. Plus, T.Y. Hilton constantly gets injured. The team did draft a good running back though, so maybe they won't be complete trash? Who knows? The Houston Texans have peaked. Alright, hear me out. I don't think they're going to be necessarily a bad team this season. In fact, I do believe they're going to get into the playoffs. But Deshaun Watson has this one little quirk where every time he gets pressure, he just decides to stare at the defensive lineman and try to scramble for everything instead of looking down the field to throw the ball away. In some cases, this ends up being a good play. Not every time. In fact, most of the time when he gets into the I'm just going to scramble mode, he ends up losing way too many yards or giving the ball away. Not necessarily great. And Bill O'Brien, the biggest hack of a head coach ever, traded away DeAndre Hopkins this season for... No. That can't be... For David Johnson? A running back who was only good 4 years ago and hasn't done anything since and constantly gets hurt? Why would they do that? DeAndre Hopkins is like the best wide receiver in the league. This is dumb. They're gonna suck. The Titans' biggest question mark this year is sustainability. Yes, last season was amazing for them, and Derrick Henry is the best running back in the league. The question is, will he be able to repeat that for an entire 16-game season? My thinking is probably not. The thing is, he always comes on strong late in the season, not necessarily in the beginning. And Ryan Tannehill, a quarterback who, in Miami, was constantly under pressure and not living up to expectations for what he should have been. The man also can't stay healthy. Last season, he only played a few games. This season, is he going to be able to stay healthy for an entire 16 games? Are they going to be able to move the ball like they did last year, and will their defense not suck like it sometimes does? I don't know. That's the biggest question. If everything comes together for them, they could be another Super Bowl contender. If not, they could be staring at yet another 9-7 season. Remember when Saxonville was a thing, and Jacksonville was in the championship game almost twice, and they almost beat the New England Patriots? What the heck happened to them? I mean, I know their quarterback was Blake Bortles, not exactly confident and inspiring there, but they've moved on from him. Who do they have now? I'm sorry, who? Gardner Minshew was not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Sure, he had a few good games last season, but he also had 5 turnovers in the span of, 5 minutes. This man is not an NFL-worthy quarterback. Why would you roll with him as your starter? This is going to be not good for Jacksonville. You better hope that their defense gets back to the winning ways. For the Denver Broncos, their upside is great this season. Last season wasn't great, especially starting with Joe Flacco. Last few games of the season, Drew Lock finally got healthy, so they decided to play him. And would you look at that? He doesn't absolutely suck. The offense had a huge explosion under him, and it is very possible with a full season he could get even better. The question is, will the defense be able to get back to their championship ways a few years ago? I don't know, they still have their anchorage in Von Miller, and he's out for the season. Great. The Los Angeles Chargers' biggest thing this season is they don't have a quarterback. Their defense should be relatively fine. Last year it wasn't fantastic, but added a few pieces, and the overall team is there. The problem is, they don't have a quarterback. Phillip Rivers threw way too many picks last season to do anything of note, so they decided to move on from him. And who are they starting week 1 again? Tyrod Taylor? The man who had more rushing yards in a postseason game a few years ago than throwing? Oh, Lord. Look, the thing is, Tyrod Taylor isn't necessarily the worst quarterback in the world. He won't lose you the game, but he won't win you it either. He's a check-down machine. Kansas City. Yep, that's all I have to say about them. They're going to win the Super Bowl again. Not only did they not lose any talent last year, they actually added some with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the LSU running back, who in his opening game seemed very, very productive. It's going to be hard to stop this Kansas City offense. The only hope is that the defense just can't do anything. The Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, my bad, that's going to be weird saying. They don't have a team. They don't have anyone really to pin their head on other than a second-year running back and Josh Jacobs. Their quarterback is still not developed. People keep saying he was going to, but he never did. They recently brought in Marcus Mariota. I would expect him to play later on in the season, especially if they start losing again like they did last year. The Dallas Cowboys got a new coach this season. Finally, it took forever. Who did they hire? Wow. That's not very confidence-inspiring, now is it? The big question is, what Mike McCarthy are we going to get this year? Are we going to get the one from his early days in Green Bay when he was actually a good coach? Or are we going to get the one towards the end of his career where he was just hoping that Aaron Rodgers would bail him out and everything and not really try? The Philadelphia Eagles, the biggest thing with them is injuries. They're full of them. 1 season of a rash of injuries makes sense. 2, you're just unlucky. 3, you need to fire your strength and conditioning coach. Good lord. The Washington football team. Yes, I know the name. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is they still have so many holes in the team, they basically aren't a football team, which is ironic. The quarterback situation can be described as nobody has any idea. Dwayne Haskins last season was all over the place. If he doesn't take a step forward this year, we might be looking at Kyle Allen, who also was all over the place last season. I guess Ron Rivera has a soft spot for him. If none of those work, we have Alex Smith? Oh my god, he's back! How did he come back from that injury? That is just insane. However, the problem is the only wide receiver they have is Terry McLaurin. Everybody else is basically scrub. At least they have a running back, right? Oh, Darius Guys got arrested? Well, crap. Well, at least they have Adrian Peter. They released him? Why would they release Adrian Peterson? That's just insane. Well, he is getting older. I can't see what team would want to sign him. The New York Giants have been all over the place recently. Eli Manning has finally gone, so we get the Daniel Jones show. The first season of him being just the quarterback of the Giants should be interesting. If they can stay healthy, Saquon, and if they can continue to catch the ball, Golden Tate, they might be able to have a good season. The problem is their defense is very inconsistent. If they can iron out the inconsistencies, they might end up being the best team in the division, which is surprising. Let's get this straight. You trade up for a quarterback in the first round of the draft over somebody who wasn't even going to take the quarterback in the first place, and you end up drafting the wrong one. You have both Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes at your disposal, and you draft Mitchell Trubisky. Trubisky's rookie season, not great. His second year was actually surprisingly good, and they made it to the playoffs. Last year, oh my god, he was awful. So what do they go out and do? They trade a second-round pick and pay $20 million to Nick Foles? After the season he had last year? The man is a good bench warmer, but that's pretty much it. Not only do you do all that, for your week 1 starter, you decide to start Mitchell Trubisky. You give all of that just to start your same guy. At least he's playing the Detroit Lions, so we should be able to carve him up. The Lions haven't changed whatsoever in the last few seasons. Matt Patricia is an absolutely awful coach who has no idea what he's doing, and the GM is a Patriots knockoff who is just trying to cheatly imitate them by getting all of the people that they cast away. The man played with a broken back the last 2 seasons. If he can't stay upright, the Lions are screwed. They lost all 8 games last year when he wasn't in. They better hope he can stay healthy. Let's look at the Green Bay Packers. What did they do this offseason? Wow, they're still wasting Aaron Rodgers. What a surprise. Minnesota, a team that constantly loses in the playoffs. What do they do to improve this season? Nothing? What do you mean nothing? They literally signed nobody? It's another wasted year for Minnesota, isn't it? The Tampa Bay Bucks are going to be another team this season that is all or nothing. After the 30 for 30 Jameis Winston did last season, they got rid of him. Tossed him out. Goodbye. Who do they replace him with? Tom Brady? Oh, this is going to be interesting. Tom Brady, for the first time in his career, is playing for somebody that's not the Patriots. Does he still have the magic to make it a full season? We don't know. The Atlanta Falcons, 28-3. Do I need to say any more? Constant failure. That's all they do right. Matt Ryan is good, but wasting away there. Their offensive line is trash. They just lost their running back and replaced them with an anemic running back and Todd Gurley. The problem is their defense. Carolina is an interesting experiment this year. Teddy Bridgewater being a new quarterback there and everything. It'll be interesting to see how he performs, but they should still rely on Christian McCaffrey. If McCaffrey can stay healthy this whole year, they have a decent shot at making it to the playoffs. Drew Brees is 41 years old. That's the biggest New Orleans Saints problem. Hopefully they can actually win a playoff game this year. At this point, I think it's in their heads. The San Francisco 49ers almost won the Super Bowl last year, and they would have if Jimmy Garoppolo wouldn't have missed this wide-open throw. Hopefully their offense can stay on track like it was last season. Their running game is absolutely amazing, and their defense should dominate. So they might win the division this year, but they're also in the same division with the Seattle Seahawks, who have been constantly improving recently. Though the Legion of Boom is basically gone, they have a replacement, and they were really good last season, almost winning the division. I can see that happening this year as well. That's not the only good team in the NFC West, because we're also contending with the Arizona Cardinals. An up-and-coming team, yes. Kyler Murray is an interesting project this season. Hopefully he can continue what he was last year, and he won't have a sophomore slump. They actually have a running game now with Kenyon Drake. Oh, and I forgot to mention DeAndre Hopkins. The Rams are almost extinct. Everyone from the Super Bowl run a few years ago is gone or really old. They wrapped up their money in the wrong players, i.e. Todd Gurley. Maybe they will return to their winning ways this season, but not if Jared Goff played like he did last year. And that's all 32 teams this season. What will happen? Who will win? I don't know. We'll have to see. I predict Kansas City will win the Super Bowl, however. Good luck.